This episode is brought to you by Levitt Pavilion. Because concert season is starting soon, Levitt is kicking off another summer of live music outdoors with a free performance from Black Joe Lewis on May 24th. Levitt is a non-profit venue in beautiful Ruby Hill Park with free and ticketed all-ages concerts scheduled May through October. This year, the free shows include some of my favorite local acts like Devotchka, Esme Patterson, Flowbots, and, okay, there's even a special showcase from a really cool nonprofit that I used to volunteer with called Girls Rock Denver. You can see the whole schedule, RSVP to free shows, and buy premium upgrades at levittdenver.org. That's Levitt Denver.org. This episode is brought to you by CU Denver's Jake Jab Center for Entrepreneurship. The Jake Jab Center is home to the only Master's in Entrepreneurship degree program in the whole state of Colorado. It's designed to be flexible for working professionals, aspiring entrepreneurs, and side hustlers, whether you're launching your business or making a career change. And it can be fully online or hybrid with in-person classes in the heart of downtown Denver. They also really care about keeping this program affordable. It's less than $26,000 for in-state students, and exclusive scholarships are available. Visit jakejabcenter.org to learn more about the program and set up some time to speak with a dedicated recruiter and student advisor. Apply by July 15th to start this fall at jakejabcenter.org. Today on CityCast Denver. When DIA executives spend $165,000 on a trip to Spain, who pays the bill? Me and producer Paul Caroli are talking about the scandalous world of airport finance. Plus, the raises Mayor Johnston wants to give his top lieutenants, what the governor means when he says he, quote, likes math, and your questions about speeding, the pitiful Rockies, and movie soundtracks. Today is Tuesday, May 13th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Hey, Paul.
Hey, good morning, Bree.
Before we get to the news, we have something fun.
We have something very fun.
We're giving away 2 tickets to this cool event called Brunch at Night.
Put on by Brunch Running. It's a pre-Colfax Marathon shakeout run and party at Snooze on the evening of Thursday, May 15th. That's this Thursday.
This Thursday. Oh, that kind of sounds fun. Nighttime. It's that time of year. It's like getting warm. Hanging out outside is good. But okay. First of all, if you want to win these tickets, let's just say what you need to do, because it's pretty.
Okay, sure.
It's pretty simple. But also it's only open to members.
So if you're not a member, you have to join.
Yes, if you're not a member, you have to join. But also, if you are a member, you are welcome to throw your hat in the ring here. So this event is happening at Snooze. And so we're looking for your Snooze hack. What do you do? What's your game plan when you go there? Paul, do you want to share your Snooze hack to give folks an idea?
Oh, yeah, sure. I think I've probably talked about this before.
I think so.
I'm a fan of Snooze. I really like Snooze. Snooze, local favorite. Great.
I love
local
the atmosphere,
chain.
honestly.
So yeah, here's what my hack is. Order a pancake for the table. You always have that quandary of sweet or savory at brunch. I say do both. Get yourself a savory, but then order a pancake for the table. You can share it, have a couple of bites of sweet.
I love this idea because I never want a whole pancake.
Same.
So you're right. If you're really I'm an Eggs Benedict person, that's what I want, but maybe I want a little sweet. I love that. My hack is a little more simple. It's just go to Snooze on a weekday morning. It's not that busy.
That is a good hack.
That's where I have a lot of brunch lunch meetings or my mom and my son and my aunt and my niece go there every week for brunch on Wednesdays after they go swimming.
That's nice.
And there's never a line. So if you want to, those are our Snooze hacks, but we want to know what yours are. So give us a call or shoot us a text, 720-500-5418. Let us know your Snooze hack. Let us know you want these tickets to the Brunch at Night pre-Colfax Marathon. And again, you got to be a member or become a member today. And you will be entered to win those.
And we're going to pick our favorite by the end of the day on Tuesday, the 13th. So that's the day this is coming out. So if you're hearing this today, get it in right now and you've got a good chance. These tickets are these are $85 tickets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a serious giveaway we're doing.
That's awesome.
I know.
Okay. Well, get us your Snooze hack. Again, 720-500-5418. Brunch time all the time hotline is open. Okay. Let's get on to the news.
Our first story, we're talking about local officials living the high life. Bree, do you want to start with the raises Mayor Johnston is trying to give some of his top people, or do you want to start with the DIA first class?
Let's end with that. Okay. The DIA first class, because the quotes are good.
Okay, so Mayor Johnston wants to give some of his people some raises.
Yeah, so he's saying for some of these cabinet positions, since 2022, there's been no raises. And some of these raises for these positions could push up to close to 44% increase in a salary. This is what Axios has reported. But the city's reasoning is just to keep these jobs attractive to top talent. And they've just been identified as positions that have not gotten raises in a couple of years.
What jobs are these exactly?
Well, speaking of Phil Washington, management of aviation department would go, Phil Washington would get a 17% increase, which means he would go from about $346,000 a year to $406,000 a year.
Huh. $406,000 a year.
So almost $60,000.
Wow.
I know. That's a nice raise. So he's one of these positions that's part of this conversation. I think another one that would be relevant to our listeners is the manager of the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, Amy Ford. We've had on the show. She would be looking at a 23% increase of about $45,000, up from $195,000 to $240,000. So it's positions like this, high-level positions, for sure.
As a taxpayer, I love knowing this. As just like a human, I guess this is maybe my like Midwestern sensibilities, but hearing about people's salaries like this just makes me gives me a little shiver about it. It's like a little weird.
I feel like since Colorado passed that transparency when like on job applications, I always look for it. And now I'm always curious what people are making. Yeah, for sure. It's kind of made it more like on the table. You can talk about it, which transparency to me is great. But it is interesting to look across the table from someone and be like, I think I know what you make.
I know exactly your salary.
But I mean, this is a lot of money. And I think it's a topic of conversation for sure, because we're talking about budget shortfalls already in the city. So
I'm sure that's the concern that some people are having. Do you expect this to be controversial? Who has to approve?
City Council.
City Council will decide. Okay.
So their quote, this is from CBS. This is a quote statement from the mayor's office. There are 12 executive director positions identified in the city charter who are governed by different rules than other city employees. These 12 positions do not receive annual pay adjustments based on market studies, nor are they eligible for pay equity adjustments or annual merit increases. So if passed by council, these adjusted salaries would go into effect in July.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like those systems that you just said these are exemptions from are like, those probably exist for good reasons.
The reasons why they don't get those raises?
Yeah, like those market studies. Like market studies for what other people in similar jobs might be making. Like I don't know.
I wonder what that position is in New York City.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or Des Moines. Or, I don't know.
The whole idea of like what should elected officials and like top political appointees like this make is like, it's very interesting to me, because I do understand the argument Mayor Johnston makes about you want great people and top talent, because otherwise, you end up with this. We want the best, the best people to be running the city. But it's like, shouldn't you? I don't know. Yeah. The other side of it is like the budget is strapped already.
The budget is strapped already.
Why?
They're saying, officials say the city can afford the increases by leaving vacant roles in the mayor's office unfilled. So shorter staffed, I guess. I just think about these numbers in comparison to everyday worker wages. And it seems kind of shocking thinking about like the cost of living raises the teachers are asking for, or janitors or people like that. So I could see where this would be a little bit like, they're making what? So we'll see. City Council will make that decision.
I guess so. Let's talk about the DIA stuff, because this is a little bit more scandalous.
Yeah. So there was this 3-day conference on airport terminals. And
riveting stuff.
It was in beautiful Madrid. And I think CBS did a FOIA request and found out that this trip cost DIA executives to send 9 executives to this conference for 3 days, $165,000. Now, I'm not comparing these because they are coming out of the same budget, but I'm just thinking about how much hay was made out of the mayor's office spending $11,000 to go to D.C. to defend our right to support immigrants.
Yeah.
For $11,000. This is $165,000.
Yeah, politics is so weird. I haven't exactly seen uproar over this either. I mean, I know this story dropped from CBS probably like 3 or 4 days ago, but I'm not seeing scandal. I'm not seeing controversy.
Well, it's also just like, whose money is this?
Well, let's talk about that. That's an interesting piece of this.
It's not technically the city's money. This comes out of DIA's budget.
Mm-hmm.
So
DIA is an enterprise fund run by the city.
Right.
And I think that's where the Phil Washington raise would come from too, out of DIA's own money and their own revenue.
Yes. So it technically is like not really a taxpayer problem or issue. Maybe that's why people aren't thinking. I don't know. I think people have a lot more to worry about these days.
Yeah. Although the details of like the airport executives flying first class or business class to Madrid for a fancy convention vacation.
There's some amazing quotes from Phil Washington regarding that.
Tell me.
Asked why the contingent needed to fly the most expensive class of service on every leg to and from Spain, Phil Washington said, quote, "Our policy allows us to do that."
That's why he gets paid the big bucks, $400,000 for an answer like that.
What do you want?
I love that.
Our policy allows us to do that. And then I
mean, what else is he supposed to say, honestly? It's like, yeah, we wanted to enjoy ourselves.
I mean,
I had to order champagne on the flight. That's what it cost.
I know in my mind that kind of flight looks like that. It looks like I mean, I don't mean to bring Diddy into this, but like the bad boy era of the 90s where champagne is everywhere. Mm-hmm. Everything is gold. Everybody's on a PJ. But
that's
we don't,
DIA
I mean,
execs.
$165,000, it had to be kind of fancy.
They're saying it's the third busiest airport in the world. I mean, maybe they deserve it. If our airport is crushing it, if they're doing the best of any airport, actually, I don't know if that's the right metric for judging if an airport is like crushing it business wise. But if these people are like the best in the world at what they do, okay.
I guess.
I don't know. I'm not that mad about that.
I don't. Yeah. I think it's just like who these numbers relate to, like who does it really actually impact? It is an interesting story, though. I mean, this is what FOIA requests are for.
Real shout out to Brian Moss from CBS Colorado for a tactical FOIA request on this one.
Another thing I loved, though, about this reporting was he kind of broke down the logistics of the flights to double back on what Washington said. Uh-huh. So, quote from the CBS piece, Washington went on to say that first-class travel for him and his executive team is critical to their productivity. Quote from Washington, quote, "You got to hit the ground running. You literally go from the plane to a meeting or a conference or whatever. For those reasons, this is allowed in our travel policy." And we did. Well, CBS went and took a look at that itinerary and said, but the actual flight tickets obtained by CBS News Colorado showed that the executives landed in Madrid about 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. in the morning on April 7th. But records show the 2025 Passenger Terminal Expo conference didn't begin until 24 hours later.
Ooh.
So, Phil,
my man.
Just saying.
It's possible they went to meetings right from the It's possible that 24 hours was booked wall to wall with airport terminal meetings.
Or you were like, I'm already in Madrid, bro. Give me 24 hours to party before I go sit in a conference room in Madrid for 24 hours.
Yeah. This is one of those trips that sounds more like a work-themed vacation.
100%.
Than a convention.
Yes.
And I'm jealous. It sounds great. We should do this.
I guess we all need to be executives at the airport if we want this kind of job.
I'm just saying I'm out here. I'm here. I'm available, ready to do the job.
Also, didn't they say, but we were the talk of the conference, so...
Because they managed this scheme.
I don't know, Paul. Have you
getting first class tickets?
Have you been to a conference, like a work related conference?
Sure, yeah.
I haven't. I guess all I'm thinking about is like, well, I just like eat some good food. Sometimes I'm sat at a table with someone cool.
Oh my God.
I guess I'll like pick some interesting things up. But like, to me, it's not like the meeting of the minds at these things.
I've been to really good ones. I've had great experiences and I've had terrible experiences. I went to a conference in New Orleans once. Ooh. You want to have an awkward night? Go down Bourbon Street with your coworkers. Terrible.
That does sound terrible.
Oh, it's the worst. Just like, terrible. Should we get a drink out of a 2-foot slushy machine? No, no, I don't want any beads. I don't actually like beads.
Please keep your shirt on. Yeah. I'm good. Well, I don't know.
It's horrible.
Money is flying around in this city, and you think what you want about it, I guess.
Good luck. Good luck to everyone. Wish everyone the best of luck.
Stuff.
All right, let's move on.
Hi, I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast. We've all set health goals, lose weight, exercise more, eat better. But without a plan, those goals often fade. That may have happened to you. It has definitely happened to me. And that's where Prolon comes in. Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet gives you a science-backed, structured approach to stay on track and see real results. And now Prolon is upping their game with the new next-gen 5-day program, delivering the same science-backed benefits in a cleaner, more convenient, and more flavorful format. Prolon is a plant-based nutrition program featuring soups, snacks, and beverages designed to nourish the body while keeping it in a fasting state, triggering cellular rejuvenation and renewal. Next Gen builds on the original Prolon with 100% organic soups and teas, a richer taste, and ready-to-eat meals. Developed over decades at USC's Longevity Institute and backed by top U.S. medical centers, Prolon has been shown to support biological age reduction, metabolic health, skin appearance, fat loss, and energy. I've been doing the 5-day program, and I feel so much better. I really enjoy the tasty energy bars, the snacks and soups, and the fact that I can enjoy meals, even though the calorie count is super low. The flavors and textures are excellent. An olive oil snack here, broccoli and quinoa soup there, hibiscus tea, a yummy nut bar. It's got the benefits of a 5-day fast, but doesn't have the challenge of doing it with pure liquids. It's a system reset. And also, I know this sounds funny, but it's not. The packaging and directions are fantastic, clear, and well organized and thoughtful. For a limited time, you can be first in line to experience the new Next Gen at special savings. Prolon is offering CityCast listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. Just visit prolonlife.com/city. That's PROLONLIFE.com/city to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/city. This episode of CityCast is sponsored by Babbel. Learning a new language opens the door to new friends, new cultures, maybe even a whole new life. So why not start the journey today with Babbel? You can start speaking a new language with confidence thanks to Babbel's conversation-based technique. It quickly teaches you useful words and phrases about the things you actually talk about in the real world. There are more than a dozen languages available for you to learn at your own pace, with material tailored to your individual proficiency level, interests, and time availability. I'm David Plotz, CEO of CityCast, and I've been learning Spanish with Babbel and brushing up a teeny bit on my French. But there's also Turkish, Swedish, Dutch, German, many more languages. Babbel's tips and tools for learning a new language are approachable and accessible. It's like having a private tutor in your pocket. I particularly love Babbel's guided conversations, which let me practice real-world conversations. What to say at the doctor's office, how to leave a party, using speech recognition to make sure I'm getting the pronunciation right. Babbel's mobile app and website have real-time feedback, progress trackers, and clear visualizations. They're helping me improve my Spanish in only 10 minutes a day. So get talking with Babbel. I want you to learn another language, so I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for CityCast listeners at babbel.com/citycast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/citycast. Spelled BABBEL.com/citycast. Babbel.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
We're still talking a little bit about the state legislature because it's not totally over. We talked quite a bit about it with Deep on Friday. Mm-hmm. But
we're to my favorite part of this session, honestly, which is press conference season.
Will he or won't he?
Will he or won't he? And then if he does, where will he sign these bills?
Oh, like the actual physical location that Governor Polis will sign some of these bills.
I remember he signed some outdoor recreation bill a few years ago up at Lincoln Hills out at this beautiful cabin. Yes. He signed one that was about something really abstract around like water or like utility funding. And he went to like someone's home in the suburbs into their front yard and set up a desk. And someone's just in like a suburb. I swear there's pictures of this. I'll find them and I'll post them. But it was just like him and a bunch of people in suits like on a lawn. It was so weird.
Well, for this bill, the rent algorithm bill, is he going to be like in the Matrix?
Yeah, he's going to go to the Matrix, actually. Yeah, he's going to jack in.
Well, let's talk about the rent algorithm bill, which Polis may not sign yet. Can you give the too long didn't read? We've talked about this bill as it's moved through.
Yeah, we were really digging into this probably around January because that was when Biden's White House put out this report on the rent algorithm used by this company called RealPage. it's if you haven't heard about it, it's an algorithm that landlords really, really like because it does the hard work for them of helping you figure out what price to set your rent at for all the units that you're trying to lease out to any old person. And they like it because it's efficient and it helps them make money. This is what Drew Hamrick of the Apartment Association of Metro Denver told me. He told me that I think his quote was 4% higher. Yeah, 4% greater revenue, profitability for a rental housing provider that uses an algorithmic pricing model is 4% greater. So this is super popular in the landlord world right now, these algorithms.
In the landlord world. Yeah. I think that's
for renters, it's the important devil. Part. People hate these things. Everyone that doesn't understand, that hates AI, that doesn't understand how these algorithms work, and that is paying very high rents, we've seen in Denver for the last 10 years, go up and up and up and up, except for recently. These things seem like the worst thing in the world.
Well, it feels opaque, and it feels like you're not getting that competitive edge of looking at other apartment rates as they maybe more organically would rise or fall. I understand that it does feel like anti-AI, but I think at the same time, it's just folks are already struggling. This doesn't feel like it benefits renters.
Yeah, I think it's anti-high prices. Yeah. And when the White House tells you that the reason why your rent is $136 per month higher than it should be is because of this algorithm, I think you're going to hate the algorithm.
I would too.
That's
if
what
I was paying rent.
They said the average is that much higher in the Denver metro area.
Again, you and I are mortgage payers, so we don't have to deal with this fluctuation all the time. And so where are we at with this bill?
It's passed the legislature. Okay. Unlike last session when it failed in the Senate due to some key votes from centrist Democrats who relented to the arguments of Drew Hamrick and the Apartment Association folks, it passed this year, and now it's awaiting Governor Polis's signature.
And that's where we are, is we're waiting for that. Mm-hmm. But I think not the funny part. The interesting part about this whole back and forth was...
I think it's funny.
It was a controversy over math.
Yeah, well, the governor's office spokesperson made... I think this comment's funny. She said, Governor Polis, this is to the Denver Post at the end of April, Governor Polis is committed to reducing housing costs for Coloradans and has taken a number of steps to do that. And he likes math in general and will review this legislation if it reaches his desk. And then the Post went on to say the spokesperson did not respond to a follow-up question about how Polis's affinity for math relates to his position on the bill. Which is great. Which is so great.
I mean,
and a good question.
There's a lot of math happening with a lot of bills. I mean, I don't know. This was interesting. So we're waiting to see how the governor is going to go on this. And I do think it's interesting, the context you gave, that this was already tried once last year and failed, but it's moved a little bit farther this time.
And then the political winds started blowing in the direction of ban it when the Biden administration put out their report. And then, of course, Trump took office, and now things have changed. And also, of course, I think part of the math thing is the actual numbers of rents going up or down. But then the other thing is the political math. Polis is looking at a housing market here in Denver, at least, where rents have gone down for the last 2 quarters for the first time in 10, 15 years. So perhaps he's not feeling the same pressure to, immediately act on behalf of renters. And he might be thinking a little bit more long-term on the themes that we were talking about last week with Deep about, do we really want to be the first state in the country that imposes this level of regulations on housing providers, which is how these landlords think of themselves.
Well, I liked this quote from Javier Mabry, who said, the governor keeps saying he likes math. I don't exactly know what that means. I like math too, but if you're using math in a manipulative way to harm Colorado consumers, that shouldn't be something that we have to support. I'm just saying, I thought that was an interesting quote in context to how folks view this bill. It's very different.
Yeah, well, and math itself. I mean,
and that old controversial topic, math.
I think it's super controversial. Some people hate math, don't want to do it ever.
Well, I'll be interested to see what the governor does here, because like you said, the rents are going down. I would say it's not a huge amount where folks are necessarily feeling an impact, but it may be giving folks a little bit of leeway or negotiation when they're looking at maybe re-signing their lease or looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting to see how the governor views that in the context of housing here in Colorado.
Well, I'll tell you what I think he's looking at. The math that I think he's looking at, if he's going to be calculating about like what rents people are going to be paying or not, is the market itself. Like how prevalent is the use of this algorithm in Denver specifically? Because that seems like there's some discrepancy about that. And that's important because when we're talking about math and competition and collusion, you have to think about how widespread the algorithm is. Because the way the algorithm works is that it suggests prices to landlords based on market factors. So if a large amount of the market is using this algorithm, then they can just keep pushing up the numbers higher and higher and higher. And because then they'll always be able to say, oh, well, the building next door is doing this too. They have higher rents. And then that's really what screws over the people in them. So like, doesn't the average Denver renter have the ability to go out and find a different comparable unit for a lower price? And if they don't, then is that because of the algorithm? Now, here's the numbers. Denverite reported at the beginning of the session that counting all rental units, RealPage has about 24% of the Denver market using its AI revenue management or YieldStar products. So that's 1 in 4 units. Mm-hmm. So as a renter, you maybe go out and you think, okay, well, maybe I'll go find one of those other 3 units, or like I'll try to find a lower price, which is what you should do if you want to try to lower your own rent, is find a comp and negotiate. The White House said 45% of Denver Metro landlords use RealPage.
Oh, well, that's quite different numbers.
Yeah. So I think that's what Polis is trying to figure out is like how prevalent is this? Like 1 in 4, that is competition.
Yeah.
One half.
That's
if they're getting over 50%, if more than 50% uses this algorithm, like that's
scary.
That's a little bit more like collusion.
I'm Cindy Lauper. My psoriasis was all over, even on my scalp, which may mean 4 times the risk for psoriatic arthritis. But Cosentyx works on both.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis 300 milligram dose and adults with active psoriatic arthritis 150 milligram dose. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at Cosentyx.com or 1-844-COSENTYX. Ask your doctor about Cosentyx.
Hi, this is Javon, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep. I'm here to help with everything from selecting the perfect window treatments to...
Well, I've got a complicated project.
No problem. I can even help schedule a professional measure and install. We can also send you samples fast and free.
I just might have to do more.
Whatever you need.
So the first room we're looking at is for...
Shop Blinds.com now and get up to 50% off with minimum purchase. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
It's Tuesday. We get awesome comments, questions from you, our brilliant and hilarious listeners. This time we've got a text.
This is a text from Gretchen in Wash Park. I love that you also recognize the brilliance of the Clueless soundtrack. And did Paul remember the track list off the top of his head? I still have my CD. I rotate my old CDs through my CD player in my car. I don't have a CD player in my car anymore.
Well, this was about when we were talking about Jill Sobule passing last week, because her song Supermodel was on the Clueless soundtrack, which I brought up, I think.
Yeah.
And was talking about this track list. But it's a great album.
Yeah. I didn't remember. I Googled it in the moment.
Yeah.
I pulled it up. I have no idea what's on that. I don't think there's a soundtrack. Maybe Garden State. I could name a couple of songs.
Oh, man.
The Shins.
The Trainspotting soundtrack shaped my whole life. The Go soundtrack, so good. Dazed and Confused. That one turned me on to a lot of 70s music my parents said sucked, but I actually really liked.
Maybe some of Quentin Tarantino's.
Oh, great soundtracks there. Oh, I love a good soundtrack.
I'm not going to pull a single one for you right now. My mind is blank, but
was the
I
5,
like
6,
them.
7, 8 that one song? Anyway. Okay, well, we got another text. This one, should I read this one, Paul? From
Sure,
an urban
please.
planner. Urban planner here. Solution to speeding is traffic calming. And so this is in relationship, I think, to the conversation we had last week where I was talking about flock cameras and the use of cameras to slow speeders and how I'd kind of given up on trying to get people to stop speeding.
So this person says,
it is more effective than enforcement like speeding tickets, whether they're given by cameras or police officers. Things like, chicanes, narrowing lanes, speed bumps, curb bump outs at pedestrian crosswalks or pedestrian islands in the middle of the roadway. The problem with these things is that people don't like them and they find them annoying and they're harder to implement than just setting up a bunch of cameras. So
what's a chicane?
It's a planning term. I'm trying to remember.
A serpentine curve in a road.
So it's to calm traffic by taking that straight shot out and making it a little curvier. So you have to slow down. They say bigger picture, the solution is to reduce the number of people driving. So first of all, you have less speeders. And second of all, you have people would speed less because they are less stressed from traffic. Oh, that's interesting. Unfortunately, a part of this is making driving less convenient. Without that factor, it's difficult to reach a critical mass of the population willing to politically fund things like public transit. Yeah. I mean, I think this has been a big argument for BRT.
What has?
Slowing down traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Getting more
putting stuff in the way.
Putting stuff in the way and also making the other option more attractive.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I love it. I want more of it, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen, on the streets. I've seen it in my neighborhood. They did it on Knox Court. They did a lot of these things.
What did they do?
They put in the speed humps, like the slightly less. Okay. They're not quite as big of a bump, but they put in quite a few along Knox Court, and it has slowed people down. So there's an option. Okay, our last text is about the Rockies.
This is a huge hot topic. This was my weekend. I was talking to people about this.
Well, this person says, you should all tackle the question everybody's asking about what fans do about the Rockies when we still love going to Coors Field, but the Rockies are so bad. I'm a season ticket holder, but geez, how much can we take?
Have you been following what's happening with the Rockies at all?
I've always just know that the general tenor is the Rockies kind of suck. I love Coors Field.
Yeah, well, the tenor I think is, Rockies Nation is feeling that more than ever. The Rockies don't just kind of suck. The Rockies are like historically sucking this year. Their record is currently 7-33.
Oh, goodness.
They lost 21-0 on Saturday.
Oh my God.
And there was an article about them in The Athletic because they fired their manager finally. I think everyone was expecting this on Sunday. But then it's like, what do you do? Because the attendance numbers are still pretty good.
What's the incentive for the Monforts to be putting more money in different places with the Rockies when that everybody's favorite bar, Coors Field, is doing just fine?
Yeah.
I love this season ticket holder question. It's like, what am I doing?
Yeah, well, I think that's the only thing you can do is stop going. Stop paying for tickets.
Do you think people will do that?
I don't know. I was thinking about going to a game a couple weeks ago, and then I remembered, I looked at their record. This is how I got turned on to this. I was like, wait a second. No, they're just going to lose. I won't have as good of a time.
I think I would just do what I did when I was a kid before we had the Rockies and I was really into baseball, was just find another team somewhere else that I liked. And then when they came, at least I'd have a game where I was rooting for someone
I think a lot of people do this. I think people were chanting, "Let's go Tigers" when Detroit was in town the other day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's an option for you. I don't know if I'd want to be a season ticket holder for that experience, but
I don't know.
I
feel like, I don't know what I'm proposing here, but I like the English football system of relegation for the teams in the English Premier League. The three worst teams at the end of the season, they just get bumped down to the next league down.
Oh my God! So there's actually like kind of a punishment for being bad.
Yeah, and then the top three teams in the lower league get moved up. I feel like if that was a threat for the Rockies, they would either, the owners would invest
more. Go back
more,
to the farm team.
Or maybe we would have the minor league team with the best stadium and people would keep going. And then the expectations would be lower.
Let's bring back the Zephyrs. Please, let's do it. Well, that's one way to do it.
The
Montfort family, if you're listeling, maybe advocate for them.
Relegate
like, whatever.
yourselves. Volunteer to go to a lower league.
Why would we do that?
You don't care.
All right. Well, if you have any questions, any thoughts about any previous episode, give us a call, 720-500-5418. Again, we love voicemails, but you can always text as well. Paul, thanks for joining me.
Hey, don't forget to send us your snooze hack.
Yes.
Get those tickets to that brunch run event.
Yes, this Thursday.
720-500-5418.
Get it in right now. Okay.
See you next time.
See ya. That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell DIA CEO Phil Washington about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See ya! It'll get you places. It'll get you a big raise.
Apparently.
For Phil Washington.
Big fat raise. I'm going to come in tomorrow with 6 pocket squares just jammed full. My pockets are going to be bursting at the seams.